Imagine waking up one morning to find your home, your sanctuary, locked behind a towering metal fence. A smug little sign hangs on a padlocked gate, declaring you the trespasser on your own land. No warning, no explanation, just a cold, calculated move by a group of clipboard-wielding bureaucrats who think they own the world. This isn't a dystopian movie. This is the real-life story of Jesse Ray, a retired Texas firefighter who faced down a rogue HOA and turned their trap into his triumph. Stick with me, because by the end of this tale, you'll see how one man's quiet cunning outsmarted an empire of petty tyrants and built something so bold it made headlines. You won't want to stop watching until you hear what he did with that gate key. Hey folks, welcome to my deep dive into one of the wildest HOA stories ever told. I'm your guide, a storyteller who spent years unraveling the chaos of HOA Karen sagas, those petty power grabs that make your blood boil. Today we're talking about Jesse Ray's battle against Pinebrook Meadows, an HOA that thought it could fence in a Texan's soul. I've studied every angle of this tale, from court documents to viral news clips, and I'm here to break it down with 40% of the original story and 60% of my own insights, stories, and lessons. This is about more than a fence. It's about freedom, revenge, and the kind of justice that feels like a cold glass of sweet tea on a hot day. Let's get started. Jesse Ray was no ordinary man. At 43, he'd spent decades as a firefighter, running into burning buildings to save lives. When he retired, he poured every penny into a 40-acre ranch outside Austin, Texas, a slice of heaven where he could raise horses, grow peaches, and listen to the birds sing at sunrise. For a year, it was perfect. No neighbors, no noise, just peace. But peace never lasts when developers sniff opportunity. Enter Pinebrook Meadows, a shiny new housing estate that sprouted up next to Jesse's ranch like weeds after a rain. This wasn't just a neighborhood. It was an HOA fortress, complete with rules about mailbox colors and bans on visible laundry lines. At first, Jesse shrugged it off. His land was free and clear outside their jurisdiction. But the HOA had other plans. They started with letters, official-looking nonsense about how Jesse's barn clashed with their community aesthetic. Then came the visits. A guy named Donald Snipe, picture a walking polo shirt with a permanent smirk, showed up whining about Jesse's tractor ruining the view. Jesse offered him a shovel of horse manure and sent him packing. But the HOA didn't quit. They planted surveyor flags, sent strangers to snap photos, and whispered about boundary reevaluations. Jesse checked his deeds at the county clerk's office, confirming his land was secure, but an old clerk warned him, "Son, if an HOA's got their eyes on you, they'll try anything." My take: this is classic HOA Karen behavior, overstepping boundaries because they think rules apply to everyone, even those who never signed their contract. I've seen this before in stories like the Florida HOA that fined a veteran for planting a vegetable garden, or the California board that banned a single mom's porch swing. It's not about community. It's about control. Jesse's ranch wasn't just land. It was his identity, his reward for a life of service. The HOA didn't see a man. They saw a target. Here's where things get insane. Jesse left for 2 days to visit his sick mom in Houston. He came back to find his entire ranch, 40 acres, encircled by a shiny silver fence. Heavy steel mesh, impossible to climb, with a locked gate and a no trespassing sign mocking him. The gate sat on a tiny 5x5 plot owned by the HOA, a loophole they'd exploited to control access without touching his land. No key, no combination, just a padlock and a power trip. Jesse was livid, but smart. Instead of smashing the gate or calling lawyers, he called his real estate buddy, Darnell. 3 days later, Darnell found the guy who'd sold the HOA that plot. Turns out, he owned another strip right behind it, the only path to the gate from the road. Jesse bought it on the spot, along with the shed holding the gate's only key. He didn't tell the HOA. He waited. At their next picnic, While they sipped lemonade on their clubhouse lawn, Jesse drove up in his Dodge truck, hammered a no trespassing sign into his new land, and flashed the key. Donald Snipes' jaw hit the floor. Jesse had flipped the script. Example story: the mailbox rebellion. Let me pause for a similar tale I've studied. In a Colorado HOA, a woman named Sarah faced a board that demanded she paint her mailbox navy blue to match the neighborhood. Sarah, a free spirit with no patience, for nonsense, painted it bright pink instead. When the HOA fined her, she rallied neighbors to paint their mailboxes every color of the rainbow. The board backed down, humiliated. Like Jesse, Sarah used defiance to expose petty tyranny. It's not just about winning, it's about showing the world who the real clowns are. My take: Jesse's move was genius, but it's also a lesson in restraint. Most of us would have lost it, screamed, sued, or taken a crowbar to that gate. Jesse played chess, not checkers. He knew the HOA expected a fight, so he gave them silence and strategy. I've seen HOAs crumble when faced with quiet resolve, like the Arizona board that tried to ban a guy's flagpole, only to find he donated the pole to a veterans group, making their fines look unpatriotic. Jesse's key wasn't just access, it was power. The HOA strikes back, dirty tricks and desperation. The HOA didn't take kindly to being outplayed. They rolled in with SUVs and golf carts, claiming Jesse's ranch was now internal green space inside their fence, subject to their rules. They served him papers for trespassing on his own land. Then they paved a road through his property without permits, hired goons to dig a secret entrance, and even sent masked men to burn his barn. Jesse caught them on camera, but not before. They shot down his drone with a rifle. He didn't back down. He called in Barry, a county inspector who shut down the road for lacking permits. Sheriff Daniels, an old friend, impounded a bulldozer sent with fake papers to demolish Jesse's porch. But the HOA kept pushing. Fake foreclosure notices, cut power lines, and a court motion to seize his land as a public nuisance. Jesse fought back with evidence, drone footage, security tapes, and forged documents. He sent it all to Allison Price, a reporter who aired a segment called HOA Gone Rogue. It went viral, racking up millions of views and sparking protests outside the HOA's office. Example: story: the pool cover conspiracy. This reminds me of a case in Nevada where an HOA demanded a retiree named Tom remove his pool cover because it wasn't approved. Tom, a former engineer, proved the cover met safety codes, but the board fined him anyway. So he organized a neighborhood pool party, invited the local news, and showed the cover saving a kid's toy from sinking. The HOA's fines were dropped after public backlash. Like Jesse, Tom used exposure to turn the tables. My take: the HOA's escalation shows what happens when power-hungry Karen face resistance. They double down with lies and intimidation. I've studied dozens of HOA horror stories, and this pattern repeats. They start with rules, move to harassment, then resort to outright crime when cornered. Jesse's footage was his shield, but his patience was his sword. He didn't just fight. He documented, planned, and waited for the perfect moment. That's why his story resonates. It's not just about land. It's about standing up to bullies who think they're untouchable. The court hearing was a bloodbath for the HOA. Jesse and his cousin Travis, a land use attorney, presented a mountain of evidence: fake permits, arson attempts, and even a flash drive from the HOA's own lawyer, Beatrice, who defected with proof of their scams. The judge fined Pine Brook Meadows $500,000, dismissed their claims, and ordered the board's arrest. But Jesse wasn't done. He'd bought more land from an old seller, Ernest Walker, strips running under the HOA's office and fountain. He nailed an eviction notice to their headquarters, live on camera, as Allison Price broadcasted to millions. Then, on the land they'd paved, he built Freedom Arena, a rodeo venue hosting barbecues, goat yoga, and veterans events. The HOA collapsed, and the community embraced Jesse's vision. Example story: the flagpole victory. This echoes a story from Georgia, where an HOA banned a man named Mike's American flag. Mike, a Marine, didn't argue. He flew a bigger flag and invited veterans to a daily salute. The HOA's ban became a PR disaster, and they apologized publicly. Like Jesse's arena, Mike's flag became a symbol of defiance and unity. My take: Jesse's arena wasn't just a win, it was a middle finger to every HOA Karen who thinks they can rewrite someone's life. I've seen communities heal when one person stands up, like the Oregon HOA that backed off after a teacher turned her fined garden into a food bank. Jesse didn't just reclaim his land, he built a legacy. His story proves that justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a barbecue under string lights, with the fence in ruins behind you. Lessons learned: the power of quiet strength. So what can we take from Jesse's saga? Here are 3 big lessons, forged in the dust of that Texas ranch. Know your rights. Jesse checked his deeds and boundaries early, which gave him confidence to fight. Whether it's an HOA or any bully, knowledge is your first weapon. I've seen too many folks cave because they didn't read the fine print. Stay calm, strike smart. Jesse didn't scream or sue at first. He bought the key. Every move was calculated, like a poker player holding aces. Next time you face a Karen, don't match their noise. Outthink them. Build, don't burn. The arena wasn't just revenge, it was redemption. Jesse turned a battleground into a community hub. That's the ultimate victory, creating something that outlives the fight. If Jesse's story fired you up, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs a dose of Texas grit. Subscribe for more tales of everyday heroes beating the odds, and comment below, what would you have done with that gate key? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.